I watched a movie called The Endgame. A story about, a delegation that, went overseas to kind of help this country out. And you were part of that delegation. How does that make you feel that you played such an integral part in where we are today?
I suppose humbled is possibly a good word. That movie was about Michael Young, who was then Public Affairs Director of Consolidated Goldfields. And as an Englishman, he went out of his way to try and resolve the situation in South Africa with apartheid.
They're not sure what South Africa would be like if it's governed by the ANC. I mean, this is why they've come to talk. They've come to try and find out what it's all about. And in that sense, if they are convinced, or let me put it this way, if the ANC can convince them that there's a future beyond apartheid for them in an ANC South Africa, they will not be afraid of it. Certainly not.
They arrived in the belief that without the ANC, there can be no end to South Africa's racial strife. But landing near midnight...
My name is Thabo Mbeki. I'm an Afrikaner.
Known to each other only by reputation, as bitter adversaries, these South Africans could, for the first time, at least introduce themselves.
We have come here not because we agree on everything. Our past histories have trapped us into misunderstandings and conflict. But we have come here, in a sense, to escape the worst of that history and to build on what is good in it.
Your late comrade, David Webster, said something very interesting to you about, being an expat.
David Webster said to me, as a white South African, you've got three alternatives. You can immigrate, just disappear, go to another country. You can hibernate, like so many white South Africans do, or you can participate. And he said, if you allow me to, I'll introduce you to South Africans you've never met before and know nothing about. And he's obviously talking about the black community. It was an experience and a path which I took, and it just turned me around completely. And so that's why I gave my commitment to Van Zyl Slabbert, who had started DIDAS, Independent Democratic Alternative for South Africa. And he very kindly put me on a delegation to go and meet the ANC in exile. I formed a very strong friendship with Steve Tshwete. And he and I tried to get factions together. And people like Thabo Mbeki, of course, who was in exile, they were unbelievably understanding and kept on saying to me, Geoff, the very least you and other white South Africans can do is just oppose apartheid. Just stand up and just tell your next door neighbour, I'm against apartheid. That's a small amount we want you to do. Of course, a lot of us went a lot further than that.
Sure. You are the brainchild behind the Nedbank South African Charity Golf Challenge. It's 20 years running. And what was it that inspired you to start this tournament?
Firstly, I'm a keen golfer. And I used to be invited to play with a South African society called the Impalas. And they were mainly dentists from Wits and Cape Town. And then there was another group called the Proteas, and they were mainly from Pretoria, Tuks, and from Stellenbosch. They just didn't play together. And I one day said, come on guys, why don't you all play together? So we did. We had a very small golf day, and they really enjoyed it. And after that, they said, please do it again next year. And then the year after that, a very good friend of mine, Francois Pienaar, got involved together with another great friend of mine, the late Clive Rice. And it was actually Francois who said to me, Geoff, this is such a great event. Why don't we do it for charity? And so in 1998, we started the first South African charity golf day, and Francois and Clive and I formed a charity called SAINT, South Africans in Need Trust.
You here for the African Major, and you're doing some great work in Rustenburg. Can you tell us about that?
There was a significant change last year when the Nedbank Golf Challenge fell under the European Tour. So they came up with the idea that we identify a school near Rustenburg and we make a donation to them. Retlagwana School, primary school, which is just near Rustenburg, only about half an hour from Sun City. They identified a young South African golfer, Brandon Stone, who is now 24 years old, coincidentally born and raised in Rustenburg. He's very keen on doing something, putting something back into the community.
Thank you to everyone who came out today, making me feel so special. Obviously, very taken back by the response that you guys are giving me today. Got some of the most comfortable hugs I've ever gotten in my entire life today, and shed a few tears with one of the ladies that wrote an absolutely beautiful poem for me. I really hope that the assistance that the European Tour and Nedbank and myself give you guys today is going to help you guys progress from year in and year out.
The king of gold, the man who wins for us, the man who lifts up our country. Brandon, Mr. Stone, share your gift. The man who works with confidence. Brandon, the swing of the man is excellent. Brandon, men are more men. Brandon, keep doing. Thank you.
Wonderful stuff indeed. Wonderful stuff indeed.
You too can be a success, whether you want to be a lawyer or a doctor or a farmer, or even if you want to be a professional golfer like Brandon Stone. If you have it in your heart and you have it in your mind, you will succeed.
One of the greatest regrets in life is being what others would want you to be rather than just being yourself. You're incredibly, extremely, supremely, unbelievably different. Share your efforts with us on our Facebook page and on Twitter at Play Your Part SA. I am Kabelo Mabalani and I challenge you to play your part.